there everyone! Welcome back to another exciting video for the Shibarium community and its partners. I'm Cezanne Shib, and my mission is to spread knowledge and positivity within the Shibarium ecosystem. This video is the 40th of all X Space Weekly DAO Update series. This X Space was held October 24th, 2024.
Hi, everybody. As you can hear, we are back for another K9 Finance Weekly DAO Update Spaces. We've got a panel of speakers who apparently know their microphones work. Hi, I'm Pulse Digital in the K9 Finance account, ready to kick off another discussion. If this is your first ever K9 Finance Spaces, you chose 40 weeks to pull up now. Man, you're walking into it. Hi, you're going to get a long explanation of what's going on here. This is a weekly show we do every week, every Thursday. We get together at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about the goings-on in the K9 Finance community, which is a SHIB partner. We provide liquid staking for Bone and beyond, other tokens and stuff like that. So we're going to put together a panel of people from within the community. They're going to tell you what they've been up to since the last time we spoke to them. So if you're here for that, welcome to it. You can either request your spot to speak, which is a cool thing to do if you're here to give updates or you have questions about some of the things we're talking about, or you can use the comment section as your place to hang out. There's a spot reserved down there. Write your comments, share your memes, show your projects, whatever you want to do. It's all good for the algorithm. I don't mind. And then you'll notice pinned posts go up top. As we go through the show, the speakers will have the ability to pin posts. So if they've got something relevant to the conversation that they're going to want to reference later, that's where you're going to find it, up top. So keep your eyes up there and I'll give them an opportunity to explain it. So Buzz, it's been 7 days. How you been? What's new?
Hey Shane, yeah, it's been a busy week. Definitely heads down into the data grind, which I'm sure that Shima can speak towards a little bit as well. Definitely really excited to get this dashboard up and running, which I'm sure that we'll touch on quite a bit in this. And otherwise, just really keeping up with the market, trying to find new ways to innovate, to how to get more users to the product, which I know that the title of the space is about, the gas subsidy. And really excited to do the Travel Voucher Drawing too. That was a campaign for our whales that we did quite a while ago, and everyone's got their hoodies now. Some members of the community ended up burning K9 to receive hoodies as well, and now's going to be the day where we're finally going to be able to give people their long-awaited travel voucher.
So let's do the two things that are in the title up front. This gas subsidy has been something that you guys came up with as a kind of a response to requests from within the community about how to incentivize people to move over. Can you explain a little bit about what that is? Yeah,
for sure. So we've got a lot of feedback from our whales. I actually see Chabibi listening right now, and he was the one that had some great feedback on including a campaign like this. But he noted that he was talking with a bunch of people in the Bone Discord, and that some of them were apprehensive to use K9 because the unbounding fee that can come from unstaking your Bone from a Shibarium delegator, like, it can be costly, right? If you need to do a few transactions on ETH nowadays, it can add up to maybe around $50 if you're going from an existing validator to then participating in liquid staking via K9. So we thought, okay, let's try it. Let's see how many people are kind of seeing that as a barrier, and let's do a subsidy where if you move this week only your Bone from an existing Shibarium validator to K9's liquid staking, K9 will pay for your gas fees. So whether it's $25 for you to move over, whether it's $100, it is a few transactions, but we're going to be listening. When I say listening, I mean monitoring the transactions that are going from existing validators to K9 liquid staking. And then at the end of the week, we'll send you your ETH back. So whatever you spent, you're going to get back. And let's see if that puts a dent in getting some more users over to liquid staking.
It sure is something that people talk about. Gas fees on the Ethereum network have been something that have held people back from getting into projects or minting NFTs. This is a great response. And you said this was something that came out of conversations with some of the whales. Talk about some of your expectations. How do you expect this to be received? This isn't an instantaneous thing. You don't expect, tomorrow or a day from now, this all happens. This is kind of a slow burn thing, you think?
Yeah, the reason we did it as a 1 week campaign was because we always like to make decisions with data. So let's do it for a 1 week campaign, see if this really starts to move people's hands. And if it does, we can certainly do more campaigns like this, where we're actually in the midst of setting up a campaign on DBank as well, which is going to give another perk for existing bone holders to move over to liquid staking. And we've done a lot of this is tied into the dashboard. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to pull wallets where they've been active recently. They're in a validator. They own Bone. They've been on Shibarium before, and then do it in a phased approach where we're sending them messages on DBank to give them a campaign or a little bit of an incentive to move over to K9. Because if you look at tokens that have been around for multi-cycles, and Bone is of course one of those, sometimes holders become very passive. They don't keep up with the news that's going on every single week. Maybe they've checked out of the Discord, they've checked out of the Telegram, maybe they're just watching the chart on CoinMarketCap, and they don't know a lot of the exciting things that not only the Shib team is cooking up, but K9 has been building in terms of utility for the ecosystem as well, and trying to find innovative ways to reach those users with a carrot rather than a stick.
It's really creative to use DBank to do on-chain research and messaging. I think that'll be fruitful, but it's just a reminder for people it's hard.
Sorry to interrupt, Shane. One really cool thing about DBank is you can send people messages. So if anyone has ever connected their wallet to DBank, you can, as an organization, which we are, we can send them a message. And if they open that message, we pay them $1 or whatever we set the fee to. So it becomes kind of like an email marketing campaign where you can send an on-chain message via DBank to somebody and be like, hey, for this week only, this is the campaign that you're eligible for if you move your Bone over and stuff like that. So we're kind of sorting through that data right now and coming up with a few targeted campaigns to try to reach more Bone holders.
It's a solid idea, and I know you guys love combing through that. I'm sure that'll be something we can talk about in future shows. So the gas subsidy starts and ends when? You said it was 7 days. Is that 7 days from yesterday?
Yep, 7 days from yesterday.
Okay, so if you're listening to the Spaces live, you've got time. If you're listening to a recording, check your clock right now in a panic. This was recorded on Thursday, the 24th. So if you're looking at this in retrospect, you need to figure that out. Get in touch with everybody to make sure you do that right. Very exciting idea. I think that's really, really smart. And I hope that next Thursday, we at least can talk about the difference that it's made, or at least an impact, or hopefully one person with a personal story. Somebody comes up and says, I was hesitant to do this, and then you guys offered this and I found it. So if you know anybody that does it, let them reach out. They don't have to dox or anything, but it'd be cool to know that. The other thing in the title, as it says up top, is the Travel Voucher Drawing. Now, this has been something that's been much anticipated for a long time. Hoodies were distributed, as you said earlier. Do you want to get into that, and then we'll give Tony at ShibaCals a chance to talk about it?
Yeah, for sure. So this was a campaign that we partnered with ShibaCals on. Originally, all of the hoodies were dedicated to our first ever members of our whale chat. So if anyone owns 400 million K9 or more, they were eligible and still are eligible to get into the whale chat. And it was the first perk that we ever gave. So anyone who made it to become a K9 whale got this hoodie sent to them anywhere around the world. And part of that campaign was that at a certain time, they would be able to scan their hoodie to see if they won a grand prize. And this is not the only perk of being in the whale chat. So to date, even after that hoodie campaign, we've built a custom Shibarium RPC that only whales can use, and we've talked about why that's important. It's the fastest RPC on Shibarium. We have given out VIP tickets to Toronto. We've done private calls with our whales demoing the K9 product. We've done multiple pre-sales that our whales have gotten access to outside of the K9 ecosystem. The latest pre-sale actually dropped yesterday. And if you're in our whale chat, you have the largest discount of any other community. And K9 DAO, as a DAO, is going to get commission for that pre-sale too. So at 5% of anything that people contribute to that pre-sale is going to go to buying and burning K9, which is very exciting. And just being in the whale chat as well, I'm in there very often, Turtle's in there, Shima's in there. We're always looking and trying to provide as much VIP support as we can, and also give early access to products, especially testnet of our products. So our whales got access to our Bone Crusher testnet a month early. They're going to get access early to some other products that we're cooking up as well. But I'll hand it over to ShibaCals to talk about the specifics of the K9 hoodie program.
Hey everyone, hope everyone's having an outstanding day. It's Tony here, aka Sentinel from ShibaCals. Super excited to kind of do this draw. It has, as Buzz and the K9 have mentioned, it's been a while in the making. Now, for all those who have received a hoodie, there is a NFC chip that is attached to the hoodie. It's basically a little Shiba logo, if you will. All you need to do is on the back of it, flip it over, scan it with your phone, and it's going to show a page that is going to say tag link. And on the bottom left-hand side or bottom left-hand corner, there is a number. And the number is going to be the one that we are going to be announcing today. So Turtle will be doing a randomizer and announcing that number. If your number is the one that won, all you have to do is contact me, send me a DM, and I'll be able to verify it. It is a exciting initiative that we have started. It's in conjunction with ShibaCals, but also with LTD Token, where we're going to be announcing a special partnership with a global travel company, where we're going to be able to accept SHIB, Bone, as well as a few other tokens to actually book your flights. And what's really cool about this is that this organization is actually one of the largest and strongest travel discount companies in the world. So not only are you going to be able to purchase utilizing SHIB and LTD and potentially a few other tokens, you can basically utilize your crypto, but get a substantially strong discounted price. So we're going to be making that announcement very soon, but the prize is a very substantial prize when you really think about it, because not only are you getting 2,000 USD in terms of travel voucher, the actual trips themselves are really, really discounted. So your 2,000 USD is going to go a long, long way. So super excited. And one thing I do encourage everyone to do, please hold on to your NFC chips, because there are going to be future draws that we're going to throw in, because these are, it's a great way to kind of like reward the holders. So, I do want to take a moment to thank Buzz and the entire K9 crew. It's incredible to see how K9, maybe going on a little bit of a tangent, and I don't want to waste too much time, but it's incredible to see how K9 has grown from, a couple of advisors to now this juggernaut within the Shiba system, and really making some incredible moves in terms of building and really leading the pack for all the projects. So I just want to take a special time to kind of shout out Buzz and Turtle and Myhar. I know he's not here, but the incredible work and Funk and Shane and Mr. Lightspeed. There's just so many to mention. Just congratulations. This is the first step. Hopefully we're going to do more fun stuff, but somebody today is going to get a $2,000 voucher. So yay.
Yeah, that's mad exciting. I'm thinking about people who've maybe never done NFC, because I'm familiar with NFC. When you say scan the tag, are you talking about using your phone with a camera, or are you talking about using phone with a setting? Can you elaborate on that for people who might not know?
Yeah, great point. So essentially what you do is you make sure that your phone the settings accepts NFCs. And then what you do is you just wave your phone physically over that NFC chip or the tag, and then it'll register and it'll do a pop-up.
Much like tap to go, if you're familiar with holding a card to the back, right? Similar to that?
Exactly. And what you want to do is there's going to be two screens. The first screen is the authentication. So that's going to say, hey, this is a authenticated chip. Here's the number, and it'll be on the bottom left-hand corner. And then it's going to redirect to the page of K9 Finance.
Excellent. I just wanted to be clear, because I knew at least one person was pulling out their camera and taking 7 pictures, and we were going to get them in the Telegram later, and I was going to laugh. So thank you for clarifying. Buzz, go ahead.
I also just had another thing to add that we were working with ShibaCals earlier this week to do a bit of an audit on how many tokens have been purchased, or sorry, not tokens, hoodies rather. Tokens are always on my mind. So we did an audit of how many tokens have been purchased, how many have been given away to whales, and actually identified that we still have a few more hoodies. ShibaCals might be able to speak towards exactly how many, but likely that we're going to do a campaign for new whales who have gotten into the whale chat to see how we can give away the rest of those hoodies. I just saw a question in our whale chat right now about a newer member wanting to get a hoodie as well. So there are a few more first editions to give out there, and would love to get them into the hands of some of our newer whales as well.
That would be exciting. What do you think about that, Shib?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's about another 20 or so hoodies that are still available. So these ones are pre-made. So just shoot me a DM in the whale chat. I'm not only a partner, but I'm also a whale of K9. So I'm in that chat. Shoot me a quick little message and give me your size. The colors right now are black and white, but it will be first edition hoodies.
That'd be very exciting. There have been a couple people that asked, so if you guys are there and you want it, you can DM him directly in the chat, or you can follow up here if you needed to on X. I'm sure he accepts DMs. If you're not following the ShibaCals account, you need to be doing that anyway, so it'd be a great opportunity to check in. Whale perks. As we continue the conversation about whale perks, I have to tag Funkin. He's standing over on the turnbuckle, reaching his hand out to me right now like a wrestling match. Funk, are you ready to tag in and talk about whale perks?
Yeah, absolutely. We just enacted one yesterday, a private sale opportunity, and a lot of people are jumping on that, so that's exciting. It's not the primary type of perk that we like to allow. It's a very rare type of thing, but it was for a partner token. So yeah, people were excited about that. And obviously, any kind of opportunities, we have to get creative upstairs, right? Because at the end of the day, we got to figure out how to bring value to whales, how to make whether we're putting hoodies or NFC chips kind of in front of them. We're definitely coming up with creative ways to bring value to them. The RPC access, I mean, we could go through all those different things, and I see Buzz has his hand up as well. But what the next perk is going to be is yet to be seen, but we're going to keep on working to keep bringing value. And I mean, what is it, like over 130 whales in there, 120, 130 whales. So people are excited. People are acquiring K9 for these different perks. And we're just going to keep working to figure out ways to build value there and build that community, because a really strong whale group is your best advocates for your token oftentimes. Buzz, you want to jump in?
Yeah, the other thing that I was going to say is that we are approaching 130 whales, which is incredible. But one thing that Turtle's doing this week, and myself, is we're going to be going through and making sure that everyone who is in there is currently holding the minimum requirement, or staking or locking the minimum requirement of K9, which is 400 million. And I don't even think anyone else on this call knows about what the next perk for that chat may be. But Shane, if you're ready for me to drop this, I can drop a little bit of alpha here.
Sure, I'm scooting forward. Go ahead.
Well, I was asked by a certain someone to treat some of our holders, early holders, people who are holding the token, people who are in our whale chat, to send a list of addresses to somebody who might be planning a token launch in the near future for a potential airdrop. So if there's a token around that you've been waiting for a long period of time, there may be a nice airdrop in your future. So I think that might be the next perk of that chat. There's no guarantees, but just a little bit of a plug there about how we're always working to make sure that our strongest holders and our strongest conviction community members are continually getting rewarded.
That sounds like something for good dogs to look forward to. Woof. I'm here for it, bro. Let's go. Thank you for dropping the alpha on that. I'm sure there will be some excited people. If they're here listening live, they're writing in their telegrams. If they're listening to the recording, it's because they came back for that little clip. What is that, the 20-minute mark? It's a turtle, circle that. Put that on the paper. Buzz, I appreciate that. As we continue to talk about the whale perks, the other thing I wanted to mention, I wanted to give an opportunity for Funk to mention BarkBot. You're still working on BarkBot, and I know you didn't mention that was the token that's going on, but you guys are working hard over there, right?
Yeah, so that's not the token. There's some connection with the token that's being offered for private sale and BarkBot. But yeah, BarkBot is really exciting, guys. It continues to be a cross-chain Telegram. We're just getting the infrastructure all set up, getting it all in code base, and going to go through full testing on it. And I'm just really excited. I know that at least on our calendar, we have announcing a little bit more about BarkBot and how specifically it's going to benefit the K9 token, because it will benefit the K9 DAO and token maybe a little bit early next month. But that's going to be a really exciting reveal, guys. And K9 is going to be the token that it benefits the most, I believe. So if that's the case, we're really excited to unveil those. We're excited to add a whole new product to our suite. I'm going to be really pushing the marketing for that. Testing, really getting people to try it out and getting it in cross-chain communities. One thing we did announce is that because it is cross-chain and does bring value back to Shibarium, we're going to be able to hit all kinds of new markets and bring value back to K9, back to Shibarium, and really expand, I'm hoping expand the TVL on Shibarium and some of the other things. But before I put my foot in my mouth and say more than I should, I'll just wait until official announcements come out on it. But yeah, it's pencils down and almost ready for testing. So.
Cool, man. Appreciate the update. And I know people ask about it from time to time. So remember, if you guys come to the spaces, it's where you get the news first. It's where you have the opportunity to actually ask people instead of waiting on responses in the chat. So appreciate you following up with that. As we continue to go down this list, I have things in front of me. There were questions that came up in the chat, since we're talking about addressing questions about multipliers. And there was some confusion about that. Buzz, would you like to address some of those things that we saw this week?
Yeah, so a few community members got a little bit confused by the user interface on the product. So specifically when they're locking up their K9, they were thinking that their multiplier was going down month over month, but it just happened to be a confusion with the UI, and we can look into improving that. But the gist of it is that if you lock your K9 in the product for 12 months, you get a 13x multiplier. That 13x multiplier is always active. It does not go down month over month. There is a slider that is on that screen in which, if you're adding more K9 to your lock, you can adjust the slider, but you can never lock your K9 for a shorter period than the remainder of your lock. So for those who, since a month has passed, for those who have locked for 12 months, they would be able to add to their lock, but add to their lock for 11 more months, for example, and that's what the slider defaults to. That does not impact your multiplier. So if you have not added to your lock and you just locked up your K9 for 12 months, you're getting that 13x multiplier. That remains constant. Just because a month passed does not mean that your lock went down.
These are the kinds of things that need to be clarified because people get confused. And remember, there are going to be things that pop up from time to time. If you guys are asking these questions in the chat, the admins and moderators are there to help with this type of stuff. But we are watching and writing these things down. There are some other things that came up with the multipliers, just some questions about APR. Those are common questions throughout the week. What else did you see?
There was another one just wanting a Dune update, so we'll speak about that. I know Shima's in the audience here a little bit, but I did put up a tweet in the Jumbotron, which has a little bit of a teaser for some of the data that's going to be included in the Dune dashboard. So this ended up being a little bit more trivial than we would have hoped for, just getting all of the Shibarium data, and we're talking data from the inception of Shibarium all into Google's BigQuery, and then when you import the data into, not to get too technical, but when you import it into Dune Analytics, it needs to be in a certain schema where Dune Analytics is comfortable reading it, and that then needs to be queried to be creating these dashboards, and we're of course checking for consistencies in the data and things like that. So like everything we've always delivered, just making sure that everything is clean and correct. And there's been a few different contracts and whatnot that have been a little bit precarious to work with on the origination of Shibarium. So we're working through that, and as you can see with the tweet up there in the Jumbotron, there's some significant progress. So what you're seeing in that screenshot there is that we've put all the validator data in there, so you can see from that screenshot and when the dashboard's live what the cost is of running the Shibarium validator, how many checkpoints the canine validators signing, what the rewards are, what rate of checkpoints are we signing. So the data is quite robust just in that one screenshot, but that's a very, very narrow description of some of the data that we're pulling from Shibarium. So this dashboard, what people are going to be able to see is things like how much revenue is the product making, how much bone has been rewarded out to people, how much bone has gone unclaimed, how much money is the DAO making, and even narrower down to how much SHIB is being burnt as a byproduct of the activity and the transactions that are going on within K9. And even cooler than that, you'll be able to see the transaction activity, like what percentage of all Shibarium transactions are on Bone Crusher. And there's going to be leaderboards, which wallets are the ones that are making the most transactions or are auto compounding their rewards at the highest rate. It's going to be a pretty fun dashboard, but not only fun, there's going to be some great and easy utility that comes out of this as well that can be used by others and not just K9. So having all of this Shibarium data in Google's BigQuery is going to allow for people to make different queries, not to keep using that word, on really unique insights. So you'd be able to pull like address information, like which addresses have used the Shibarium bridge, have also been in a validator. And why that becomes pretty cool is an update on our retroactive airdrop. So for a lot of people, they've been wanting updates on this. And what we've always told people is that if you're a good Shibizen, you're going to be rewarded the most in the K9 retroactive airdrop. So part of that is data consumption or data insights and seeing which addresses are the most active. And part of putting up this dashboard is to see which addresses are being good Shibizens. So we're actually ideating right now and just had a call earlier today to start to put together the nuts and bolts of a really fun front end to run this retroactive airdrop campaign. And what that's going to mean in essence is that we're not just going to do something lame like send out the tokens to people and say, hey, the retroactive airdrop is done. But one of our community members, Rugrat, had a really great suggestion in the forum to do a referral program. And he wasn't talking specifically about the retroactive airdrop, but we ended up baking that in. So people are going to be able to go to a website, or it'll be on our platform and within the product, and see how many points they've already gotten from being a good Shibizen. But come back weekly, daily, monthly, and do a series of tasks to increase the amount of points that they can receive when the airdrop is actually delivered. And part of that's going to be like referring your friends. You can refer somebody to buy K9 or use the product. You can make sure that you're following all of the K9 social media accounts. You can do a bunch of different actions that are ultimately going to support the DAO and support the growth of the DAO to optimize your own earnings for the retroactive airdrop. So that's going to be a really fun campaign. And it all boils down to data and making sure that we're able to track all these things. So not only is the dashboard just going to be fun for the community to look at, really understand how the product works in an easy visual way, but it's actually a really great utility, not only for K9, but other members of the community. And it's going to be pretty integral as well in making sure that people who have K9 either staked, locked, or just held on Shibarium are able to vote in the DAO. So we're going to be able to use that data set to easily bring the number of holders from Shibarium over to Snapshot to facilitate votes too. So it's a very, very important piece that we're really excited to deliver.
I was so excited when I saw the preview that you posted, but I didn't even have maybe 4 minutes before the show started to really soak it in and digest. So for me, it's a glimpse at what I had hoped you were doing, which is just laying it all out on the table. And I'm laughing a little bit that you described it as it's so fun to look at, because I got a few people here are looking at that and just glazing over. And I think they may think you have a weird description of what is fun, but you and I may differ there. Spreadsheets can be fun for the right reasons. I'm looking forward to watching people interpret the the data in their own ways, because everybody sees things with different eyes. So what you see and what Turtle sees and what I see, or what Funk picks out of it, or what community members start to notice, man, trends. The human brain is pattern recognition, personified. So I can't wait for people to be able to look at this and go, oh, wow, there's really some interesting stuff happening. Or, oh, wow, look what we're learning about what's happening. I wonder, what we could do if a campaign would change these numbers. I wonder what we could do to redirect this traffic. Data, man. I'm so proud of you guys. Go ahead.
Oh, I just had community FAQs on my mind, and I know that one thing that I missed that our mods were kind enough to let us know that was an FAQ in our Monday and Friday voice chats and Telegram is people were confused about V2 of the product. So we did put out an announcement earlier this week that we finished V2 of the product actually in Q3. And V2, for those who don't know, is the ability for other validators to plug into liquid staking. But we've talked about this before in how K9 doesn't have the ability to whitelist new validators to come onto the Shibarium network. The Shib.io team has their own process for that. But I think the community was so eager for an update here because the belief that more validators is going to make the yield go up within K9, which isn't necessarily true. So the way that the K9 product works is that the more bone that is either in our validator or any validators for that matter, who are using liquid staking is going to reward the whole system with more. So let's say in a world where there's 5 million bone in the entire system, it doesn't really matter if that 5 million bone is in the K9 validator or if it's in another validator that's using liquid staking. What matters is the total amount of bone. And where V2 becomes very important is where in a scenario where the K9 validator has an undue influence on the network. So if there became a point where the K9 validator had, say, 50% of all of the bone that was delegated across all validators, that would mean that the K9 validator is too strong. It doesn't necessarily lend to the ethos of what a proof of stake network should be. A proof of stake network should have delegated tokens varied across many different validators for perfect decentralization. So if the K9 validator got to those very, very high numbers, then it makes sense to distribute those tokens over multiple validators that have their own infrastructure set up. They have their own people running them. They have their own security set up, and it just makes for a more decentralized network. So I just wanted to make a clarification to the community that onboarding new validators to liquid staking is, of course, great. It's of course, an amazing, necessary feature within the product to further decentralize Shibarium. But it becomes very necessary if the K9 validator were to have undue influence on the network. We're not there yet, and I do understand the community's excitement because sometimes more validators might mean more bone, and that would, of course, mean higher yield rates within the product. But the key indicator here is more bone using liquid staking. It's not necessarily more validators coming onto the network.
So that leads me to some questions, and I'll ask them just in the order that they came to my mind. You said that 50% would be too strong of an influence if the K9 validator reached that level. Right now on Shibarium, what is the number one validator? Who currently has that control, and what percentage does that one sit at? Is it K9 or someone else?
We are the number one validator right now. I don't know the percentage off the top of my head, but I also want to clarify my numbers. So we're reviewing the validator sort of requirements and just infrastructure last night. And one thing that we learned there is that you actually don't earn rewards if you hold more than 1/3 plus one of the voting power of the system. So Shibarium actually has something like this built in to make it so that one validator cannot have undue influence on the network and benefit financially from that. So if we were to ever hit 33 or 34% of all of the tokens that are delegated across validators, then we would stop earning, and it would become more important for another validator to get online to give more rewards to the system. But we're not quite there yet. Turtle might know the number off the top of his head, but I don't have it in front of me.
Okay, and then my next question would be then what would be the process if someone was listening right now and they said to themselves, you know what, I want to help decentralize the Shibarium network. I'm going to start a validator. What does that actually look like? Like, don't give me the 10-minute explanation, but is that something a regular person can do?
Yeah. You would need to get in touch with the Shib team. I do believe that there's a section of the website where you can click become a validator, and there's a process there. Like most networks, you want to make sure that the person who's becoming a validator has the technical chops to do so, has the understands how to set up the infrastructure, is a good actor in the space, so that they have their own process for that. And once someone is a validator, we do have the technology available to onboard them to liquid staking.
There you go. So if anybody wanted to take the reins in the sense that everything is supposed to be a DAO, everybody's supposed to be able to pick up and do what they want to do. If they see a problem, they can fix it. So there are opportunities to become a validator out there. And I do think it is important that you did say this, and I'm just reiterating that the addition of validators doesn't necessarily augment the payout for people using the K9 product, which is what you were getting at, right? Overall, yes, hundreds emojis.
Yep, definitely. It's and Shima just sent me a message. We have 18% of the voting power right now, so we're not quite at that 34.
But appreciate you, Shima. I want to be as strong as possible within reason would be the goal. I appreciate that. That's good numbers. We've ignored Turtle, and I feel terrible, buddy. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, Shane. How are you?
I'm good. Better than I deserve sometimes, I think. What's going on in the forum?
Forum, we're still just looking for a request for a comment. There's the two areas around Bone Crusher fees, and I guess the other one around Shibarium voting has become a little bit less pressing. As you mentioned, the Dune dashboard and the Google BigQuery work that Shima's been heading up, really it saves us the $20K a year of going and getting Snapshot, because we're able to relatively easily, in an hour or two, instead of what was like a dungeon task of days before, move all the voting power over. So it's important, I guess. Everyone still lets us know how they feel about Shibarium voting, but we have essentially solved for it with what we're doing with data. The Bone Crusher settings, though, it's really important that everyone who is, a long-term believer in the product continues to let their opinion be known, because there will be a time where, these settings kind of get baked in and are just kind of set without another major vote. They're still pretty pliable now, so it would be a good time to put up new ideas or ask tough questions.
When's the next roundtable meeting?
It should be roughly on November 10th. I haven't set the official day. They're usually about 30 days apart. We're waiting on a few calendar responses from folks to see what works, but around November 10th.
And I was going to kind of ask how you guys were dealing with the holidays. Not that we have any pressing issues coming up or anything, but the planning that goes into making sure everybody still gets together. You're not concerned about any of that, right? Because it's only every 30 days.
Yeah, we're not expecting that to be a barrier, and that I think it's helpful that it's on the front side of November and December. The back half could be pretty difficult in December, but I think it'll be okay. Yeah.
And then when's the next cycle for votes? Because I know we've gotten through and we put Queen in. I see her. We went through our second cycle. Are we due for any kind of new positions, or how's that looking on the roundtable? Because applications are always open, right?
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up. We're always looking for the right folks to join the roundtable, and it's a democracy, and there's a scoring rubric, but the applications are always open, and we do try to keep an odd number just for voting reasons on the roundtable. And at this point, we have added a few folks recently, like you mentioned, that you've met in the last few weeks, but there's no reservation, right? If you think you could be a good candidate, please apply. We check them maybe every 2 weeks. And then once there's enough to kind of go through and maybe have another 2 good candidates, we tend to move it towards vote. But yeah, no one should hesitate if they think they could be a good candidate there.
Thank you for bringing all those facts up. The reason I bring it up is I just want people to recognize that there is a tip-to-tail DAO functioning right here, and whether or not you just come to the spaces to hang out or you're participating at every level, there is somewhere you could be here. Token holders participating in snapshot votes, people in the forum writing long, thoughtful stuff and participating in back and forth conversation, roundtable applications always being open to get together. This works, you guys. This is what a DAO looks like, and I appreciate Turtle doing all the work at forum.k9finance.com, your place for K9 Finance related discussions. Please sign up today. It's Sign Up Thursday, half off signups for you today if you use the code K9 when you sign up.
This has worked every week, Shane, so I appreciate you keeping people aware and kind of plugging the form. I did want to mention just a little bit about the data and the Dune dashboard and the screenshot that just went out. That screenshot is literally the tip of the iceberg. There are 20, 40, 50 other queries that need to be built and displayed, and some of them are done, and things are getting tested, but I think everyone's going to be blown away. And like you said, everybody will find their own value in monitoring it, whether it's for managing their position or whether they're trying to speculate on Shibarium or whether they need the data as an outsider to report on Shibarium and how it's going. All of these things have unseen, it's like a butterfly effect, right? You don't even know what all the potential benefits were. We didn't even really realize that we were going to save the 20K a year until we got from Snapshot, until we got halfway into the data, and it just hit us. We were like, oh, wow, this solves that problem too. And kind of like at the beginning where Buzz was talking about data-driven marketing, that's something I have a very strong background in. It's my previous life. And I'm just very excited that we have the data available. We have the product live. Everything's running great. And we're now in a position to be very intelligent with data-driven marketing. And so working with Buzz and Daisy and all the marketing folks, I'm kind of behind the scenes and may not see as much, but I'm working intimately across each of these things to kind of operate and provide cohesion. And I'm just excited about what those results could be, because once you find something that's sticking, you can scale. And so at this point, it's really just all hands on deck to spread the word. And I think DBank and a few other pathways are going to be really, really effective at that.
I think you got a lot of people excited too. You sound as excited as I've heard you in a minute. Nothing gets these guys hot like data. This is really the secret, you guys. Data just is the weight of these guys' hearts. It's their stomachs and the data. As we're talking about this, Funk, that's a segue for you because he's talking about data-driven marketing. I'm sure you can't wait to get your hands on some of this stuff too to help make the decisions. What's been going on since last time we talked last Thursday?
Hey man, appreciate that. Yeah, definitely data is important. I think any engineer knows that, which I'm not an engineer, but knows that the data is where the value comes from, of course. Like displaying the data is one thing, front end is one thing, but having access to it is what allows you to build. Without it, what are you going to do? If you had just a front end dev, what would you do? So, of course, it takes both ends of things. But yeah, having that dashboard is definitely going to be super, super useful when it comes to marketing. It gives huge ammunition to be able to display to people. It's one thing to tell people, it's another people to show them. It's why screenshots of APRs are so valuable. People screenshotting their holdings, their APRs, the APR on Bone, especially if they lock for all, the times 13, et cetera, is extremely valuable. So yeah, and as you know, we run over at CoinMerge Web3 Shards, which is a data provider. So in building apps ourselves, we ran into the issues of collecting data, and we said, F it, we're going to build our own data aggregator and then have the information, from lumber to trees. So, to be able to utilize that as well and help K9 with that element of things has been very, very valuable. So looking forward to having the dashboard and being able to utilize it to push things forward. In other kind of marketing news, we've been focused on this gas subsidy thing. Of course, it's not a lot. It's not like we're saying like, hey, we're going to give you $100 in reimbursements, but just every little bit helps, and every new way to get new eyes on Bone Crusher, that's where the vast majority of our focus is going to be. The product is out, it's wildly successful so far, and just seeing how we can continue to utilize that to push the K9 token forward to get more K9 holders is where our focus continues to be. So that's one of the big things. Other things, we've been working on some different campaigns coming up next month. You will see a lot more marketing, maybe some videos as well, and new campaigns that are coming next month. So for anyone that's kind of impatient, saying like, I'm not sure what's going on with K9, like don't worry, guys. The marketing is coming, and we have tons of initiatives and campaigns on the docket to push K9 forward, and I'll be there for every minute of it. So that's it for me.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you for the updates. It's good to hear from you. Every week on Thursdays, we get updates from everybody who's working on stuff. But one of my favorite things to do is always Buzz's Corner. And normally I would ask Buzz what he's been thinking about and stuff. And Buzz, I'm sure you've had some thoughts on your mind, but I kind of selfishly want to ask you a question this time instead of just giving it open to you. Is that okay? Yeah, hundreds. Cool. Buzz has been doing some Mario spaces, and I just want to ask, because I've been doing Mario spaces for a while now. You've been out basically in the jungle bushwhacking through projects now and seeing some of these things that come up on these other shows. What's your experience been like? Like, what have you taken away from your last week of listening to some of these other shows? Maybe what have you learned about K9? What have you learned about yourself? How you doing? Are you okay?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely great. It's a great form of networking, right? To be attending so many spaces, and there's just many opportunities that come out of it. Like you get connected with so many great marketers, developers, other project founders. Partnerships can come of it, and things like that. But in listening to a lot of these projects, like I think that many projects right now, especially the ones that are utility focused, are really lacking like a product market fit, and that's what I love about the Canine product. Is it blends so hand in hand with the success of the Canine product being really great for Shibarium. Like the product market fit is never something that we've really had to struggle with that pitch. Like I think our community and the broader Shibarium community really understands how a network can benefit from liquid staking. But you listen to a lot of these other projects, and they have really, really long roadmaps. So you kind of ask a few questions, and maybe they didn't think about certain implications of their product and whatnot. But that's what I'm really proud of. What everyone's been able to build in this community here to date is something that's very relatively easy to understand. That the success of Canine is good for the growth of Shibarium. But you did ask what's on my mind. I know it's probably on Turtle's mind as well, and it's have you followed the is it Terminal of Truth or Truth of Terminal, the GOAT token?
Yeah, I'm aware for sure.
Yeah, that's something that I was digging into quite a bit, because it was originally pitched to me as something where AI was plugged into a Twitter account to actually run a project or run a token and things like that. But it was actually much more in depth. And I mean, Turtle can definitely speak to this more in terms of just the power of AI and kind of what we've been working on with Canine to optimize some of the flows and additional products that we're going to be introducing to the community. But it was quite fascinating, this experiment that was done. I mean, this is definitely not a shill of another token. I haven't bought it, but I just find it academically interesting to see an AI experiment in real life, and how Brian Armstrong is actually engaging with this AI and trying to get it to become a base user and things like that, and just the sheepish mentality that people can have. I mean, this AI now has a portfolio that is in the tens of millions of dollars, just because people are just trying to back run anything that it purchases. And it's just a very interesting thought experiment, and it's a little bit too degen for my blood. Like these meme coins, as I've talked about quite a bit on these spaces, are not necessarily something that I jump into, but other people definitely do. Like there's not much that it's built on other than the cool experiment of how an AI can kind of be an agent in and of its own right and have this sort of general intelligence, I guess you could say. But if you look at its Twitter account, the Terminal of Truth, it's quite crass and very robust, and certainly does play on the culture of crypto people quite a bit, I guess.
It's a reflection in a mirror that, when held up, makes you filled with self-disgust. It's honestly, I won't even get into it because I'm wearing the Canine account, but it's been a study in X culture, which is where I live my life every day, and just general crypto. You called it back running, which is funny. It's people just piling in and giving this bot exit liquidity. There's no other way to say it. And you say it's like an experiment. It's also just people speculating, trying to get rich, man. Crypto is so PvP right now because it's the same people swapping liquidity from chain to chain, from Tron back to Solana, and now over to Goatsy token. It's almost embarrassing, but it is a lesson in the psychology. And you say Brian is trying to talk to it to convince it to go to base. It's so wild because I've been involved in AI for so long, and people are just ready for it. They just want to jump, and they're like, oh, it must be smarter than me. It must know what it's doing. And it just blows my mind, because you're right. People are following it. You called it sheepish. That's a great way to put it. Go ahead, Funk.
Yeah, I'm going to add into that the market being PvP sentiment right now. It definitely still is. We're definitely not in a bull market for alts, and it's important to recognize that. And so we're still waiting for a new catalyst that really onboards a whole bunch of people's and their fiat into the space. And so people are moving from meme to meme because it's in this PvP economy. It seems to be the market that has the quickest turnaround for basically 1.5xing is what people are willing to take in a lot of these tokens these days. And so I think this is just another example of it. It's hot, it's a hot ticket item, and then people move to the next soup of the season. But Turtles sounds like he has some thoughts on it.
Yeah, I have an interesting take on it. The agents that are running the token, how hands-off is it really? It's a black box. We can't really see how much the agents are doing. Are the agents generating a bunch of potentials, and then there's an operator behind the scenes selecting some of them? So, I think more transparency would be useful there. But a different take on it is that there's a lot of tech folks and AI folks that don't pay much attention to crypto. But as agents are becoming kind of the new craze and the new effective paradigm for AI, what I think we're going to see is a lot of them are going to look at what's happened with this GOAT token, and they're going to go, wait a second, the only way for my AI to easily transact with the real world seamlessly, right, because you can't go get it a bank account, is to use crypto. And so my hope is that tokens like this do perform well. People don't get hurt too badly in the PvP of it, and that it does bring in some of that new market that you're talking about. So just a different take.
Yep, it's interesting to think about that people are still so ready for AI, because I've always said it's not like the meta ever went away. Metaverse and AI just got put on ice because the technology has still not come around. People haven't adopted the headsets, or the chips weren't ready. AI is the same, man, but every time something pops up, you can tell people are ready for it. If only there were an AI provider for Shibarium. Oh, I digress. As we approach near the end of the spaces, we got about 2 or 3 more minutes left before I go here. I got enough time to wrap around the room one more time, give everybody a chance to close off. And I noticed LTD swung through. Something tells me that might be Sentinel in that account. Is that you? Are you up there in the LTD account?
Yeah, sorry. I kind of switched by accident, but I think Turtle wants to do the draw. Or Turtle needs to do the draw.
Ah, that's right. We got the draw. Are we doing that live, Turtle?
Yeah, so when the space wraps up, I'm going to start a video chat in the main Telegram channel. Wait maybe 3 or 4 minutes for whoever to join. Buzz and I will be there. It's going to be quick, but we're going to do a screen share of the giveaway for the $2,000 travel voucher for the K9 hoodies. So that'll be right after we wrap up here.
Yep. Since we do not have screen share in spaces, and since Turtle will be the one conducting it, the Telegram is the place to go. You guys probably, if you're in the spaces at this point, are already in the Telegram, but if not, click on the K9 account, follow the link, get in the Telegram, and participate there. Get your hoodies ready. Do the scan. He explained earlier how to do the scan, so get ready to do all of that. Funk, before we go, any final thoughts today?
No, guys, like I said, lots of marketing coming, lots of campaigns coming. Everyone's really hard at work, and the product has been a success. So that success hopefully will transfer over to Shibarium. We've already got some new projects reaching out about pairing and bonus tokens and things of that nature. So it's going to be exciting. Really want to just give a shout out and hand of applause to Shibarium tokens out there, because ultimately it's you guys that are making the chain a place to trade on. So continue to keep working. If you have Shibarium tokens out there, if you're thinking about launching on the blockchain, every little bit helps. We have to really rally the army to make Shibarium and Bone be successful, and by extension, K9 successful as well. Really also excited for new roadmaps, cross-chain expansions for K9's Bone Crusher, or the K9 app as we're calling it. I guess we had a little conversation on the branding of that this week. And lastly, I'll just mention, guys, that BarkBot, again, is going to have some cross-chain elements. It's going to bring value back to K9. So there's just so much on the horizon to be excited for. And you guys make it all possible. So thank you very much for continuing to work for us.
Appreciate you, man. And we'll see you back next Thursday, same time, same place. Turtle, before we go, final thoughts, forum wrap-ups, anything?
Get your comments in on the Bone Crusher settings. Get excited about the dashboard. Like Funk mentioned, keep an eye out for new marketing. I think the retroactive airdrop thing is going to be really interesting. And other than that, just keep spreading the word. Make sure people know about the gas subsidy. Anyone who has 5K Bone and wants to reposition it will cover all the fees. That's pretty compelling. There's no reason not to in that case. And yeah, that's it. Just looking forward to doing this giveaway. I know a lot of people are probably excited.
I appreciate you and Shima and the crew behind the scenes. We got a whole team of people that work on the data and stuff like that. Thank you guys so much. Buzz, final thoughts before we go? Another week, this is 40, man. We didn't even make a big deal out of it, but sometimes it's like black balloons and all the sad stuff. 40 weeks, bro.
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes I've said this before, but we get the feedback that we don't make a big enough deal about the small wins, like when we're shipping different products or but just very on brand for K9 not to be celebrating 40 weeks in a row, because I think everyone just knows that 52 is not too far away, and we're going to be around and still cooking for 52. So that'll be a big celebration there. But what I do want to do is just give another plug for the whale chat. Like I said earlier, we had our latest perk that was dropped yesterday. I do believe that pre-sale is going to be open for at least 4 or 5 more days, if not a week. So if you're somebody who is sort of waiting on the sidelines and maybe not wanting to participate in K9 yet, it could be another reason to become a K9 whale or increase your holdings to get into that chat. At the top of the hour, I did list off like many of the perks that we've already delivered to our whales. But there's definitely more to come. I teased that alpha in the middle of the space about something big that could be coming from a certain individual and treating our holders there. But it's a really great time to get involved because there's a lot of perks coming.
Appreciate you, man. Everybody in the whale chat is going to be excited to hear that. Remember, guys, the Telegram after this for the draw for the $2,000 travel voucher from ShibaCals to take a trip wherever you want to go. If you have a hoodie, you should be there right now. And if you don't have a hoodie, you should be asking yourself, why don't I have a hoodie? And what should I do to get one? Guys, I appreciate you listening. Remember, this is Pulse Digital behind the K9 account. I'm a DAO member just like you. I host these shows every Thursday. This is number 40 in a row. I appreciate you letting me do this because I get to have all the fun. I get to talk to the boys. I get to get up here and shoot the S, as they call it, and I appreciate it. And this was a spooky show. We are exactly a week away from Halloween. A week away. I hope you all have your costumes ready. I would appreciate it if you had a Halloween-themed PFP for me next week. If anybody needs help making them spooky, we can figure that out between now and then. Until next time, it'll be 7 days, and we'll get spooky together on a K9 Finance weekly DAO update spaces, guys. I appreciate you. Have a great week. I'll see you on Halloween.